Tonight on CTV, a Fort Collins man was arrested for child sexual misconduct.
And see how El Centro is celebrating Latinx Heritage Month.
All that and more on CTV starting right now.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Ren Wadsworth.
And I'm Robbie Patla. Thank you for joining us tonight. Last week we informed you over the wildfire occurring just southwest of Fort Collins. It is now 50% contained compared to being only 25% suppressed last week. Residents can now return to their homes as the voluntary evacuations have been lifted. There is no new growth of the fire with the help of Poudre Fire Authority working tirelessly into the night and last night's precipitation.
A student-led peaceful protest marched through Colorado State University's campus asking the administrators for change.
When do we want it? Now!
Over 100 students met on the Free Speech Plaza at Colorado State University to peacefully protest the college's administration. The group, called Call Out CSU, is challenging the school's stance and treatment of free speech on campus. And head speaker for the event, Ty Smith, believes there needs to be a change.
There's been a lot of bias and homophobia and racism, etc. on campus, and so we kind of created it as a way of creating awareness for other groups that may not understand what we're going through as a community.
Together, students and staff took to the streets of Colorado State. As they walked from the symbolic plaza to their ending point of the administration building, Call Out CSU supporters screamed exactly what they felt.
It's unkind, unnecessary, and it's childish and has no place on this campus.
The group aims to set up more protection for LGBTQ+ and trans communities, as well as minority groups on campus who may be negatively impacted by hate speech.
I think as a community we all definitely have to kind of stay together to create this better, brighter, and more inclusive campus.
With this first demonstration, Call Out CSU is marching towards a more inclusive campus here at Colorado State University.
CSU President Joyce McConnell also met with the group prior to the Call Out CSU event. McConnell then posted on Instagram, quote, "It was wonderful to meet with the Pride Center staff and CSU student leaders today before they marched," end quote. Additionally, President McConnell continued by saying that she was proud students spoke out against hate on campus. The Call Out CSU has several changes they ask the university to implement within the coming years.
As if the internet wasn't safe enough, now Fort Collins police are encouraging residents to be even more aware. This warning comes after a Fort Collins man was arrested on suspicion of attempting to initiate sex with a minor over social media. 47-year-old Christopher Patterson was caught sharing explicit photos and discussing drug use with an undercover officer posing as a 13-year-old girl. Police are concerned Patterson may have contacted other underage girls and is asking for the public's help to find any potential victims. Right now, Patterson is charged with 3 felonies, including internet sexual exploitation of a child, internet luring of a child, and enticement of a child. If anyone has any information about Patterson, they are encouraged to contact the Crime Stoppers of Larimer County at 970-221-6868. Patterson is said to make his first appearance on court in September 23rd.
Coronavirus vaccine doubters may seek alternatives to fight the virus. One of these methods is to take ivermectin, which is typically marketed as an over-the-counter animal medicine. In recent years, however, the medicine has been used to fight parasites in both humans and animals. A professor at Colorado State University has been studying the supplemental drug for nearly a decade and its effect on malaria in humans and animals. Professor Brian Foy says, quote, "There is no evidence that ivermectin has evolved to target a virus," end quote. Foy goes on to explain that given the lack of evidence of the medicine against coronavirus, he urges doctors away from prescribing the drug to treat and combat the virus.
Do you remember that this 21st night of September, we have Michelle Ellis on weather right after the break.
Awkward. Do I look familiar? I should. You might remember me from here. Here. Or maybe even here.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
It can actually be a perfect moment to reach out to a friend and ask if they're okay if they seem down.
Doesn't matter how you say it.
You all right?
Everything's okay?
All G.
You all right, girl?
You cool?
You bugging dog.
Just show you're there for them.
Go on, Kelly. Susie Awkward.
Hey, you haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back, everyone. My name's Michelle Ellis, here to give you the weather forecast for this week. So let's take a quick look at what the 21st night of September has to offer for tonight. As we can see, it's mostly clear skies this evening with 61 degrees right now, and those temperatures are expected to drop in the evening. We're going to see the wind is about 5 miles per hour coming in from the north. The sun set just a few minutes ago, and the moon will be rising in about 40 minutes at 7:43 p.m. with the full moon out tonight. This week, we are seeing a fall breeze start to come in as we're transitioning from summer to fall. The trees are also beginning their transition as we're beginning to see that their leaves are beginning to change colors. The plants are loving the sunny conditions this week, but I'm not sure if they'll be the biggest fan of the windy conditions. As the temperatures begin to drop, we'll see that cold fronts are moving in and there'll be more winds this week, although it will be nice and sunny with a few clouds this week. Now let's take a look at the overnight lows throughout Colorado. As we can see, Fort Collins will be hitting 41 degrees. If we move down the I-25, we see Denver at 46 degrees, Colorado Springs at 40, Pueblo at 41. In Alamosa, it's highlighted red because there's a freeze warning issued by the National Weather Service, saying that if you have outdoor plumbing, just to be aware that there's potential for pipe bursts, so just drain those pipes. And if you have outdoor plants, just be sure to bring them in because they might not survive overnight. Now let's take a look at the rest of Colorado, with Craig hitting 27, Vail 35, Grand Junction 45, Telluride 40, and then Vail at 35. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's highs. As we can see that Fort Collins is going to be hitting 81, and now down I-25 we see Denver at 82, Colorado Springs at 78, and Pueblo at 83. Burlington we'll see at 80, Lemont 79, Lamar down here is going to be at 84. As we move down the I-75, we see Vail getting down to 70, Grand Junction 83, and Telluride getting nice and low to 67 degrees. Now let's take a look at what tomorrow has to offer for Fort Collins. We're going to see that it's nice and sunny, clear skies with a high of 81, a low of 48. We're going to see that the wind's going to pick up this week, and the wind will be at 9 miles per hour coming in from the southeast. Sunset around 6:56 p.m., the moon rise around 8:05, and we'll be seeing the waning gibbous. The National Weather Service did issue a frost warning from 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. tomorrow, meaning that it's going to get nice and cold in the morning. So if you do have outdoor plants, they advise that you bring them in because they might not survive over the evening. Now let's take a look at the rest of the week. We're going to see that on Wednesday we have a high of 81, low of 48. On Thursday, a high of 84, a low of 47. On Friday, a high of 75, and a low of 46. On Saturday, a high of 83, a low of 49, and on Sunday, a high of 87 and a low of 52. We see through Thursday and Friday that we'll have sunny conditions that are partly cloudy, and that on Thursday to Sunday that there will be higher winds, so just to be aware of that. Now everyone, that's all I have for weather this evening, but stay tuned because there's more news after this.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Welcome back from the break, Rams.
Colorado State University professor Temple Grandin is being honored for her dedication and perseverance with a bronze statue. Grandin is a world-renowned animal behaviorist and autism activist who has been in the meatpacking industry since the early 70s. Despite the lack of internships and opportunities for women in the field, Grandin innovated her way to the top through decades of dedication. But Grandin isn't the only one making an impact. Her very own statue will be the first figure on Colorado State University's campus that depicts a woman. After nearly a decade worth of work, sculptor David Anderson's art is on display at the JBS Global Food Innovation Center within CSU's Animal Science Building. Now we'll head over to Gavin Wolf live in studio to tell us about one of City Park's annual events. Gavin?
Thanks, Ren. The streetcar in City Park is a rather unknown stop here in Fort Collins, but for many, it's an essential part of the community. It's even more important for a place for the select few who enjoy it.
Jeannie Berger is a volunteer worker here at the Fort Collins Municipal Railway. She has been volunteering on the weekends for the past 11 years. She and her husband Jim take turns working as both conductors and depot agents for the streetcar. Jeannie says that the trolley is great for all ages.
It's a nice way to, just see your neighbors and I think Fort Collins is so great.
Jeannie is not the only one with a long history at the railway. The trolley is over 100 years old, and when the line was built in 1907, it made Fort Collins the smallest city in the United States to operate a railway service. Back in the day, tickets were only 5 cents, and people used the trolley for everything. It was even used as a pseudo-daycare by mothers who would often leave their children on for hours at a time. But nowadays, tickets cost $2. You can take the trolley from City Park all the way down Mountain Ave to the final stop at House Street. But there are 2 other stops along the way.
Even 100 years later, the trolley is an important part of the Fort Collins community, especially for one grandfather and grandson.
Addie and Bob Giannoni haven't missed a weekend in 4 months. They are so dedicated to the trolley that they have even ridden it to the end of the line. Not only does Bob love the experience, but the value it offers to everyone.
It's a real asset and treasure for the community because we've seen so many people long before we started riding.
And these 2 aren't the only ones who love the experience. People pack the train every weekend.
If you're hoping to ride this piece of history, you may want to hurry. This weekend is the last week to get on board before the trolley closes for the winter. Back to you, Ren.
Thanks, Gavin. If you visit the historical streetcar event in City Park, you may notice the colorful fall leaves. Last year, Colorado saw record-breaking wildfires, and with fall creeping around the corner, how have the fires impacted the changing leaves? Aspens, which are known for their yellow leaves that amber in the fall, are not only resilient in wildfires, but thrive because of them. Aspens sprout and burn scars due to the removal of competition, and because of this, Department of Forest and Rangeland Stewardship speculate that not only will we still see those changing colors, but that we can expect a huge upgrowth of aspens in the near future. The Coloradoan created a compilation of the best drives in Colorado to see the fall trees this year. It included Kepler Pass Road, which is described as, quote, the quintessential Colorado aspen drive that takes you through a tunnel of aspen with golden leaves carpeting the road.
College is more than just passing your classes and getting that degree. It's about community building, which is exactly what Year 2 at CSU students were up to this past weekend. 4,000 feet above the beautiful IM fields of the CSU campus, nestled in the canyons, tucked behind the mountains, and hidden within the meadows lies the CSU Mountain Campus. This was the destination for a weekend retreat that dealt with community building, mental health awareness, and fun festivities which the students of the Year 2 at CSU community eagerly partook in. These students feel like they did not get enough of the traditional college experience, which is why they decided to participate.
Like last year, I still had a really great time. I met a lot of awesome people and I appreciated it. But I feel like I didn't get the real first year experience or the real experience in the dorms. So I really wanted that, and I thought Year 2 was a great opportunity, and I read about it and the activities they did, and that sounds like all stuff that's up my alley, so I'm really glad I decided to join.
Activities for the weekend included a hike to Cirque Meadows where students got to bask in the glory of the outdoors while reminiscing last year and looking toward the future.
I have so much respect for all of you for sticking to it and getting through it, and I can't imagine, especially the social aspect, it sounds like was really, really difficult.
You know, I'm jumping on every opportunity, but now I feel like there are a lot more opportunities out there in the first place. So I'm really enjoying this year with you guys.
Following their excursion of optimism, they trekked back down the mountain for a self-reflection activity which helped them learn a lot more about each other.
I felt like I really missed out on a lot of things I was excited about last year. I feel like we've done a really good job so far of kind of bonding pretty quickly.
It just feels like everything is so much more together than last year, where everything was just kind of spaced out.
An evening of bonding was accompanied by a night of scary stories around a campfire. The next morning, it was time for the main event, the ropes course.
Are y'all excited?
Yeah! Friendly competitions, team building exercises, and many steep heights made up a day full of laughter, support, and fun. Once the weekend came to a close, the students felt closer with their peers, very optimistic about the future, and full of smiles, making the mountain retreat an unforgettable weekend.
This mountain retreat has been a great time to get to know them better. And it's also just really nice to be on campus and see the people I have classes with. I am very similar to a lot of the people on my floor, right? And I like all the people on my floor, and then also that I just want to do more of these things.
So classes are definitely ramping up, so I'm hoping the rest of the year will go smoothly and we can all continue to support each other in academic endeavors and everything else. And then I just really want to see this group become closer. I think we have a really good platform now based on this, and I think we can have a really fun year together.
Hey, great job, everyone.
This was my first experience at the mountain campus, and I believe it was the perfect way to help promote community building. I can only hope that this group of individuals continues to grow and acts as proof that no one is ever truly alone at CSU.
The first ever recipient of the Friedman Feminist Press Collection Grant has been awarded to Colorado State University alum Kiana M. Middleton. The grant was established in early 2013, but no one has been named for the honor until now. Researchers are chosen based on their work and how greatly it would be impacted by access to the Friedman Feminist Press Collection, stored in Colorado State University's library. The collection provides access to limited and hard-to-find primary resources in women's studies, political science, and history. Middleton's work focuses on Black feminism, feminist science, and disability studies. Through the grant, Kiana Middleton has now access to the largest collection of feminist press-published books in the Rocky Mountain West region. That's all the news we have for you tonight, Rams.
But don't go anywhere, because Brandon Cruz is up next to let you know what we have to expect when CSU takes on Iowa this weekend.
I'll be right back. Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
How's it going, Rams? Welcome to yet another edition of Bleacher Beat. I'm your host, as always, Brandon Cruz. Well, after a week of ups and downs in CSU athletics, we'll take a look at what's in store for the Rams as the weather makes a bid for fall. Plus, we all know that the NFL is filled with talent. But did you know that it includes several Ram alums? See how they're doing 2 weeks into the season? All of that and more on Bleacher Beat, which starts right now. Like usual, we'll kick things off with some CSU athletics scheduling. Mixed results were the name of the game last week, but you probably heard enough of that during yesterday's show. A new set of 7 days brings brand new matchups to look forward to, and this time it's conference action that's on the calendar. That's right, the Mountain West half of the schedule is finally here for most CSU squads. Just like last week, the Rams volleyball gets things going on Thursday, hosting Boise State at 7. And over the weekend, the Rams will remain at Moby Arena, where they battle Utah State at 1 on Saturday. After falling short in both doubleheader matchups to Rocky Mountain counterpart Colorado last week, CSU looks to get back on track in conference play. And more on the women's side, soccer will be back in action after over a week's worth of rest, hosting a pair of Mountain West schools during the weekend, opening with San Diego State on Friday and concluding with New Mexico on Sunday. And to close out the week, CSU football has by far the hardest test, traveling north to the cornfields to battle 5th-ranked Iowa. Now, CSU did snatch a road win against Toledo last Saturday, but the meaning of road this weekend will be completely different. The atmosphere at Kinnick Stadium will be rocking as the top team in the Big Ten battles the Rams. There's no doubt Vegas will have the Hawkeyes favored by a lot of points, and justifiably so. Iowa is a serious contender for both the Big Ten championship and the college football playoff. So if CSU wants to make this game even remotely close, they'll need to perform at a high level, primarily on the offensive side. Iowa's defense is elite, and it's been that way for a long time. They haven't surrendered more than 24 points in 25 consecutive games. The Hawkeyes were a top 10 defense in every metric the previous 2 seasons, and that trend seems to continue this year. The black and yellow are already in the top 25, and they've done so without playing cupcakes. Unlike many other teams ahead of them, we're only 4 weeks in, and Kirk Ferentz's squad has already blown out Big Ten foe Indiana and beat the 14th ranked and in-state rival Cyclones on the road. Yep, Iowa is pretty good. And though the offense is improving, the defense is what defines this team. They're tough and won't get pushed around. If the visitors want to stay in this one, they can't have the dreadful offensive performance of last week where the Rams' only touchdown was courtesy of a punt return. Hopefully, the Rams can avoid getting embarrassed this weekend. Okay, I think I've given CSU football enough pessimism because, as we'll see, CSU has actually generated some impressive talent in the NFL. The Rams are currently have 8 players on NFL rosters, with 3 of them serving in crucial roles. We'll start in the Lone Star State, where former CSU wideout Michael Gallup has become one of Dak Prescott's go-to targets. In Week 1 against the Bucs, Gallup hauled in 4 catches on 6 targets for 36 yards. That was before he sustained a calf injury in the second half, which sidelines him until October. But when he returns, you can expect him to continue being a threat on the outside for Dallas. And Michael Gallup isn't the only former Rams receiver in the NFL. Rashard Higgins saw his first action of the year last Sunday in Cleveland's win over Houston, going for 27 yards on 2 catches. Now, Rashard Higgins has been in the league for 6 seasons, but let's not forget just how good he was during his tenure at Colorado State. Take a look at these numbers. Back in 2014, during his sophomore year, he led the nation in receiving yards and touchdown receptions. From 2013 to 2015, which is when he was at CSU, he set all Colorado State records in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. And let's not forget about Shaq Barrett, who's the defensive outside linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He already has a sack and an interception 2 games into the season. So even with CSU football struggles this year, just know that the program is still well represented at the professional level. Well, Ram fans, that's all the sports action I have for you tonight. Be sure to catch Cam's Corner on Thursday for more sporting news, but don't go away just yet. Noah Pasley will conclude tonight's show by giving you all the spice in entertainment.
Queen is just my everything.
His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
Hello, Fort Collins, and welcome back to another wonderful week of entertainment here at CTV. As usual, I'm your host, Noah Pasley. Fall is right around the corner, and El Centro is ready to prove it, with a whole month of events, keynote speeches, and celebrations planned for National Latinx Heritage Month. The fall lineup, which started last Wednesday, has already hosted a kickoff event on the Laurie Student Center Plaza, as well as a poetry workshop. The Heritage Month calendar has also hosted this fun Flavors of Latinx event held at Braden Dining Center last Thursday. The event, which featured different dishes from Latinx cuisine, as well as games and a dance performance, lasted from 5:30 at night until 7:30. But El Centro will be hosting events, both in person and virtual, until October 15th. Speaking of events and rocking performances, the Foothills Mall is back with the Music and Market concert series, and there is only 1 week left to get your fill. Music and Market, held on the lawn outside of the Foothills Mall, hosts local bands for a night of free tunes, as guests can browse an assortment of booths featuring Colorado artisans in the open night air. The event, which is only here for one more Friday, also boasts a beer garden from the famed Gilded Goat Brewing Company to get your suds on.
I think the best part about the concert series this summer is having people outside all together, supporting local businesses in Midtown, kind of the post-COVID recovery, being all together in an area and enjoying everything that Midtown provides now.
But if you're the more active type, always on the prowl for a new trail or hike, then hopefully you caught this bike ride last week. This bike ride, the newest annual installment from the Fort Collins Mural Project, started nearly a week before the September 18th ride itself, with local artists gearing up to paint their own picture on iconic FOCO buildings. The year's event featured murals from 20 artists in 7 locations, from Ace Hardware on College down to Fountainhead Center.
As an artist myself, I really see an opportunity to help other artists come up. If one boat rises, every boat rises. And so in assisting like emerging artists and BIPOC artists, it's important that they get their foot in the door.
There's still plenty of programming to be had here in Fort Collins, however, and what better than to support this special screening, thanks to CSU's very own Department of Communication Studies. The ACT Human Rights Film Festival, which usually begins mid-March to run for a week-long annual film festival, has taken to providing year-long opportunities for students and community members. And their latest is a virtual and in-person theatrical release for Forget Me Not, a feature-length film about inclusive learning for students with disabilities. The film can be watched at the Lyric for $10 a ticket, or viewers can get 24-hour stream access for the same price. Well, Fort Collins, that seems to be all I've got for you this week, but fret not. The first episode of Humans of CSU for the semester airs tomorrow night at 7. Have a great rest of your week, FOCO.